Welcome to the last edition of Gordon Today for the 1978-79 season. Gordon Today will come back next year. My guest later on in this show, the last show, will be Father Matringa, the principal of Gordon Tech. But first, here's the news with Dave Humpa.
Thanks, Rick. The National Honor Society sponsored the Spring Blood Drive last Wednesday and Thursday, and it was a mild success. Though 103 pints of blood were donated, the quota of 200 was not reached. The next drive will be held in October, and it is hoped that the quota will be met then. Better luck to them next fall. On Friday, May 11th, the NHS held their elections of new officers. Fred Mulvihill is the new president, Miguel Diaz is the new vice president, and Peter Chiaro is the secretary-treasurer. And now with a special on the NJHS, here's Chris Guns.
May 14th, 1979, the Society held their annual initiation ceremony for new members. The initiated were Martin Calkins, Dave Hilder, William Konzik, Rachel Ledesma, Min Nguyen, Robert Nolan, Joseph Shefke, and Bogdan Wozniak. The ceremony was highlighted by a speech by Father Matringa.
We are presently aspiring in our
Last week, the student council elections were held. Out of a possible 2,000 people eligible to vote, there was a turnout of only 800. The results were Mike Hart was elected president, Paul Volpe was elected vice president, and Kevin Hutchinson elected for secretary-treasurer. And now with the special on cat food, here's Lou Visconti. Lou?
Hello, I'm Louis Gordon Today, and the question I'm asking is, what do you think about cat food? Excuse me, what is your name?
Kevin Hutchinson.
Kevin, what do you think about cat food?
I don't eat the cat food when I'm hungry. I really don't eat food, so I'm only here when I'm, desperate.
Yeah, for cat food, huh? Okay, thank you.
All right.
What is your name?
Rudy Nagley.
Rudy, what do you think about
I don't
at all?
at all.
Do you buy food here?
Unfortunately, yes.
How come you don't pay lunch? Okay, thanks. What is your name?
David Gazette.
Hey, what do you think about cat food?
It's all right. I'd rather pack a lunch, but
Do you? You buy food here?
Yeah.
You don't like
right.
Okay. What is your name?
Archimedes Chris.
What do you think about cat food?
I think they're full. It's really, because if it was really good, then they wouldn't mind us going to like Heroes and play that. We could get our own food.
So you don't like cat food?
Not really.
You pack a lunch?
Sometimes I do.
Okay, thanks. What's your name? Tim, think about food.
It's pretty good sometimes, but most of the time it's not that good. The thing about it, the cat is a pizza.
Pizza, huh? Hot dogs, hamburgers?
They're all right. Most of the time they're too long, waiting in a long line, and bug it in. It's too cold, and then it gets irritating.
Pizza are outright?
No, it's pretty good in restaurants and other areas, I guess.
Okay, thanks, Tim. What's your name first of all?
Norman Caldwell.
Okay, Norm. What do you think about cat food?
The cat food, I don't think it's too bad. I heard other schools have worse than what we have, and they do offer a bit of a selection instead of just hamburgers and fries like the public school system.
So you eat cat food?
Sometimes.
You pack lunch?
No, half the time on the diet anyway.
All in all, the majority of students our reporter interviewed said that they eat cat food because they're too lazy to pack a lunch. In regards to the food, 85% of the interviewed students said they like the pizza, hamburgers, and hot dogs as the best food of the calf, and 15% said they like the chili, the submarines, and the veal cutlets. Thank you, Lou, for that in-depth report. And the senior luncheon, a continuing tradition of Gordon Tech, was held in the gym after homeroom on May 1st. The purpose of this annual event, sponsored by the Mothers Club, is to honor the graduating class. Father Zinn presided as the Master of Ceremonies. Miss Carolyn Jensen, president of the Mothers Club, addressed the graduating class in a short speech, as did Father Matrenga. The luncheon, served buffet style, consisted of fried chicken, roast beef slices, and various salads and refreshments. Afterwards, the seniors received commemorative copper mugs and were allowed to take the rest of the day off. On May 4th, Gordon Tech seniors went to the O'Hare Ramada Inn for the annual prom. The evening started with dinner and then music, which was provided by the group Chameleon. Approximately 250 couples attended. The prom, which was very successful, was put together by Greg Tenzar and John Bohm. The earlier mentioned band, Chameleon, played music that seemed to suit everyone's taste. All in all, everyone enjoyed the prom, which will leave a special memory with everyone. And now, on a recent survey taken of the Gordon Tech student body, we have our Teacher of the Week here, Mr. Curlin.
The
Hi, my name is John Cook, and a few weeks back, the TV staff asked me if I would accept an award for Teacher of the Week. But due to extremely good timing on my part, there is no room for any other teacher this year, so I have become Teacher of the Year. I want to thank everyone for this award. I don't think I'm quite worthy of it. There are many others who are just as fine teachers as I am, but I'll take it anyway. The checks to those who have nominated me for Teacher of the Year will be in the mail and should come sometime before the end of the year. They also asked me to talk just a minute or two about my background in education. Went to Quigley North High School and then went on to Loyola University of Chicago, where I got a degree in '73 in English and have been teaching around in the Chicago area for the past 6 years. Taught for 2 years at St. Vitus in Arlington Heights, and then went to Fenwick for a year, and then on to Gordon Tech, where I've been for the past 3 years. So again, I'd like to, in all humility, accept this award and thank everyone who was concerned in getting this together. Thank you very much.
As you probably know by now, the 200's washrooms were flooded on the 10th, 11th, and 14th of this month, and reports have found it that these floodings were no accidents. While talking to Mike Minook, our reporters found that the perpetrators of this crime must have used a monkey wrench to open the main water valve, and in so doing caused the water flood, which caused the water to overflow onto the steps and down the school building. During the 5th and 6th periods yesterday, the Taft Chorus performed for the Gordon student body. Now here's some footage of them singing. And now with the special on sports, here's Frank Thileski. Frank?
Thanks, Dave. The fitness team took part last Thursday in the statewide competition sponsored by the United States Marines. As in the past years, the Mean Machine walked away with the coveted first place and the title of a state champion. Scoring 2,014 points, the Gordon fitness team was followed by West Leyden with 1986 and Lane Tech with 1960. Outstanding performances were turned in by John Cizik with 442 points, Ron Sinowski with 435 points, and Tom Annie with 432 points. This victory qualifies the team to go on down to the district competition involving 9 Midwestern states. 3 top teams will leave the summer for the Nationals. Dave?
Thanks, Frank. 2 last-minute announcements. There will not be any free book day. Get your books in now or you won't be able to admit for next year. Remember that in order to qualify for readmission to Gordon in the fall, or in order that a senior receive his diploma, all owed detention and fines must be settled by May 23rd at the latest. That's all for the news.
Today on Gordon Today, I have Father Matringa, the principal of Gordon Tech, and we thank you for coming down, Father, with your busy schedule and everything. And we just want to ask him a few questions because this is the last show of Gordon Today, and we thought it'd be appropriate to have the principal of the school on the show. And one of my first questions, and maybe a lot of people really want to know, what does your job really entail? What other, like everybody knows, okay, principal, but what are like the specifics of it, really?
Well, if we were to go into the specifics, I think this program would have to last for a couple of days. But in general, I can answer your question that the job of the principal is one of the educational leader coordinator of the school community. A school our size has many, many facets to it, many departments, many areas, and it takes a lot of people to run things. And the important thing here is that each person has a clear understanding of what his or her task is and that they do it. And then it's the principal's task is to see to it that these tasks are being fulfilled, where each person is doing his job. It's the details are just too many to go into, and that's why I said we would sit here for a couple of days talking about them, because there are varied things. But I would say that in general, that is the task of the principal.
Okay, another thing we were wondering is how well did that campaign against the vandalism on the CTA or Because it was like in the middle of the year was a problem with vandalism on buses.
Right. First, I wouldn't call it a campaign, because if we say a campaign, it's as though it were some exerted effort, a very special effort, out to get someone. But it's something that's with us always. We cannot, and I will never approve of any vandalism, be it in school, be it on the buses, any behavior that's disturbing to the school community, that's disturbing to the public on the buses, anything that is disruptive behavior that is not becoming for someone who attends Gordon Tech. How successful were our efforts to locate some of these problems, and that's the crux of the problem here, is locating. And when I say the problems, we're talking about the individuals that do these things. In some ways, we have been successful in that we did locate the individuals. They are no longer here.
Yeah.
And I would like to comment that doesn't settle the problem. It does not cure the problem, but it's removing that problem from our school community so that we can go on and do the things that we have to do here, the positive things, without trying to fight such a disruptive thing as vandalism or unbecoming behavior.
So it really has helped.
Yes, it has.
It has helped.
Yes, it has. And there are areas yet within the school that I think we really need the complete support of the students. There are so many things that we have to do in back repairs. The janitors are spending time on broken windows, certain vandalism within the school of damages, annoyances, that we are wasting so much time and money in that it's really, it's a shame that we cannot put that money into more productive things. Things are going to break because of age. Things are going to fall apart because of their use. This is a large building. Things are going to get dirty because of the large amount of people here. And so we expect those. But when you have to go back, and it's almost doing back work, you're really doing nothing because that wasn't damaged to start with.
Just like stuck in one place.
Well, you're doing work. You're putting money, time and money, into things that are not necessary.
And that leads into right to another question I was going to ask. If this continues, the tuition does go up because you have to pay more and more people.
All of those things, absolutely. All of those things, right. Like in the cafeteria, sometimes the condition of the cafeteria, the papers on the floor, those things have to be corrected. We cannot tolerate, permit, or in any way endorse that type of behavior. That if there's paper on the floor, we should have the social consciousness to pick the paper up. And that's making it convenient for all of us, appearance-wise, as far as sanitation is concerned, whatever. All of that is important. We have to become conscious as a school of this. And anybody, and I would make this appeal, anybody that detects anyone doing any kind of vandalism, I ask you to let me know who that individual is. It is not any kind of snitching. It's not considered telling on someone. It's just facing facts that person is harming everybody here. And we have a number. It's not the majority. There's a significant small number of students that are doing that. And
it's making it worse for everybody else.
Absolutely.
Are there any changes like in the school policies? Do you predict any changes coming up in the near future? Or?
Nothing dramatic or drastic. Whatever changes there will be in the student handbook, Mr. Early, the dean, and Mr. Brady, the assistant dean, are working on reviewing those things, and most of the things that would be clarified or changed in the handbook with things that we have to put in there because of some experiences that we've had, in order to make sure that our handbook explains very, very clearly what our expectations of the students are.
Do you have anything else? Do you have anything to say to the outgoing seniors, or any advice you can give them maybe after Gordon?
Yes. Keep in mind that every day is the first day of the rest of your life. You've heard that statement over and over, I'm sure, and each person did, and it sometimes goes over your shoulder very easily. But there's a lot of truth to that. Look at the 4 years that you have spent here as a very important segment of your personal development. And if at this point you realize that you did not get from this experience here what you really should have, well, the past is the past. Begin now. But look at whatever you experienced here as at least bringing you to that realization right now that you could have done better. And to always look at each day as another opportunity. And I also ask the senior class to become active alumni of Gordon Tech. We are going to depend, and we do depend on you for continuing our programs. And that means being supportive of what we're doing in some way. We're asking through Father Blasky's office, we are asking all of our graduates to get in the habit of keeping us in mind in their donations. And we're asking everybody to get in the habit of donating to Gordon Tech for its general operations in our annual fund, that is, $1 for each year that you have graduated from Gordon. So after you're out 1 year, hopefully you would contribute $1. If we took all our graduates, we figure it out, if we took all our graduates, and if each one, it's rather wishful thinking to think that everybody would, but if each one did, it would be a great amount of our, and you take each year, you multiply that, we're 27 years old, and you multiply that by each person giving that $1, we would have an extremely significant amount of money that we could use for for the operation of our school. And so, to the alumni, to our graduates, to our graduating class, remember that these 4 years are an important part of your growth, and we're here. We're here whether I'm here, anyone else is here, whoever's going to be here, it still is Gordon Tech here, and you should feel this as a kind of home away from home.
Okay. This is like the end. This show is like the last show of the 78-79 school year. Do you have any comments about this year? Has it been more productive or less productive, or any better than any other school year?
No, I find this to be as productive and as active a year as any. We have an extremely active school, academically and in various extracurricular, co-curricular activities. There are things going on here constantly. It's been a hectic year, but every year has been hectic. It's been a good year because, again, each of us has had another opportunity to grow.
Okay, thank you very much, Father, for coming down.
It was a pleasure.
Okay, and now for some student feedback with Joe Striegel.
And what are you planning to do over the summer?
Party, go to the beach with the time, see a few shows.
Okay, good. Your name, Donnie Popowski. And what are you planning to do this summer?
Come back, move out of my house and go into my other apartment, moving out from here and gonna have parties in my house.
Well, what do you plan to do over the summer? Okay. Okay.
Top 10.
And what do you plan to do over the summer?
Work out.
Okay.
Dan Shore.
And what do you plan to do over the summer?
Work during the day and have fun at night.
Okay, thanks.
Welcome back to Gordon Today. And with me right now I have Lou Viscani and John Spitza, who helped me co-host the interview part of Gordon Today. The interview part of Gordon Today was trying to inform the student body of unknown people in the school who really do a lot for the school but are unknown to the student body itself.
Yeah, that's right, Rick. And the student feedback was a device planned for the students to say what they felt about the school and about the administration. And that's why we picked on certain students to answer questions that we proposed to them. John?
And then what we just try to inform the student body of what's happening around the school and what they can plan to attend and what's happened that they missed. Anything else, Rick?
No, that's just about it. But right now we want to show you some of the videotape highlights of the people who we interviewed this year. And the first couple that we had was the student council president and student council this year and it was Dave Batovic and Las Castillo. And department. And then Coach Materano and Mr. Opoloni, who went to this. Then came Mr. Watts and Father Chesla. And who could forget Lou's famous interview with Mr. Brady?
There's a little bit of bad points of being. Well, actually, there's only one bad point. One thing I find to be about the job, and that's a large massive amount of paperwork that's involved in writing up detention slips on students, and of course then in keeping track of who served detention, when did they make they fulfill their assigned number of detentions in the appropriate time. Did they do 10 hours in 10 school days, or did it take them 12? Did they need extra hours? That kind of thing.
That's hectic.
It's hectic. It's very time-consuming. And I've discussed, of course, with Mr. Early, possible ways of changing this. And one way I've been thinking about doing it, I've been speaking not only to Mr. Early, but some of the other teachers and the students, and most of them think that it might be a valid idea. Rather than going through the business that a teacher writes a discipline notice, and then my calling the student out of my office and speaking to him and assigning him detention, then he has to go serve the detention, and there's a teacher there who has to keep track of who showed up, who didn't show up, and I have to go through the paperwork to make sure they showed up at the appropriate times. Yeah. Rather than all of that confusing, complicated, time-consuming procedure, I was thinking simply about bringing back the lash.
The lash?
The lash, indeed. You seem to be a little pleased with the idea yourself.
I was just going to say that to you. I thought the lash was a very good idea to give him,
It's swift, sure punishment, and would avoid most of the paperwork. Now, you cut a class, first cut, that's 5 lashes.
Sure, 5.
Say 5, that's fair. One for each hour you would have served. If a student shows up in blue jeans, that's 5 lashes for the first offense, 10 lashes for the second offense, and so on. Now, this, of course, would do away with all of the paperwork, and there could not be any confusion.
Well, thank you very much for being on our show.
Take it easy. Take it easy now. Listen, it's a great system. It's a great system.
Thank you very much.
No more paperwork.
I just talked to Mr. Robert Brady, deans of the freshman and the sophomore class. He's a really nice guy.
You didn't serve 10 hours. You take your shirt off. You got 10 lashes on your back. We served them all.
I appreciate it. I want you to join us next week when we have another.
Are you wearing a belt? You got a belt on?
No.
5. 5 hours or 5 lashes. What do you want? 5 or 5? Take your choice. 5 hours or 5 lashes.
Okay, 5 hours.
5 hours.
5 hours.
I thought you liked the lash idea.
No, I said I wanted them to hit other people, not me.
Oh, no, they didn't have to be me. We can have somebody else do it. We have Mr. Ehart, Mr. Wynn, any number of teachers.
No, thank you very much.
Is that a regulation bow tie? Did you ever read the handbook? That's not a regulation bow tie. That's a clip-on. Come on. It's junk. That's not regulation, boy. That's not regulation. That's 10.
Thank you very much for joining
15. How many hours you got?
Next week.
Have a good day. You got a pocket?
I served the 15 hours that he gave me, and but no, really, Mr. Brady was very nice. Well, I'm going to talk about the technical aspect of the show and all the technicians that were involved in putting the show together, because without them, there'd be no show. And so I thought I'd go over their names, and we're not going to have their names on the screen, but we're going to show you them in person. The first group of guys, they were Mark P. Joe Striegel, cameraman. Here's Joe. Now we have the audio engineer, Ray Gonzalez. Right over there working the audio board. Say hi, Ray. No, he's not listening to us. Next, very important person in the aspect of TV, is videotape technician, Chris. Hi. There we have the producers, the men who put the show together, Jim Bartell and Jeff Starowski. I couldn't spell his name if you asked me. That's Jeff. Okay, and there they are directing the show, Gordon Today. Jim Bartell. Okay, that's the technical aspect of Gordon Today, and I handed the microphone over to John for his little speech.
Thank you, Lou.
You don't mention it.
Also helping in the production of this is the writing of the scripts that we have to use for this, and handing in news stories and going around the building and talking to teachers, talking to different clubs and that, asking what's going on in that. We had for staff of writers Ray Gonzalez, Lou Visconti, Kevin Besetny, Mark Peters, Rick Safinsky, myself, Jose Ayala, Mark Yasik, Ralph Rodriguez, Mark Nilsson, Joe Striegel, Louis Scaramuza, and Dave Humpa. And they did a fine job, and we're proud of having most of them back with us next year. Rick?
We just want to sort of wrap it up now for the year, but we plan to come back next year with just about the same staff. The junior staff will be back next year, but we really want to thank the senior staff for all the work they've put in all year, and we promise to have maybe a just as good or better show next year. Lou?
Rick? from all of us to all you, thank you for watching the shows in the study halls or homeroom or whatever it may be. And watch us next year, and we'll definitely put on a good show. John?
Well, I hope you people have had as much fun as we've had making this show, and I hope you will watch us next year because I think it will be a very good show.
That's right.
Okay, thanks a lot and have a good summer.
Bye.